Good evening, everyone. This is the January 13th, 2021 meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. My name is Michael Garland. I'm chairman of the commission. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. So members, when I call your name, if you are dialing in remotely, please unmute and respond in the affirmative. Tom Fallon.
Present.
Michelle Colross. Patrick Cunningham.
Present.
Nathan Rand.
Present.
Okay. And I know Allison Holmes was traveling and did not expect to attend. And Tony Romney. All right, I am not seeing Tony either. I'm also going to request a roll call of town officials and employees. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Building Commissioner Caleb Moody.
Here.
Town Planner Adam Maynard.
Here.
All right, very good. All right, so good evening, everyone. This open meeting of the Town of Auburn Conservation Commission of Wednesday, January 13th, 2021 is now called to order slightly after 7 p.m. This meeting is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the ongoing state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting on the town's website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. So for this meeting, the Conservation Commission is convening by remote participation for the public only, although some staff are physically located in the Board of Selectmen's room here at the Town Hall. Those town employees are also practicing social distancing in accordance with the governor's orders. So for members of the public to join remotely by telephone, please call 1-408-650-3123 and enter access code 942-849-549. Or the public can join via computer at gotomeeting.com/join/942-845-549. The remote access information has been posted on the town's website identifying how the public may join. And also please note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. So accordingly, for those members of the commission, employees, and members of the public who participate, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and please take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. With regard to meeting materials for tonight's meeting, all of these materials that have been provided to members of our commission are available on the town's website, and the public is also encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Now, unlike other meetings, we actually have no public hearings for this evening, but I'm still going to set some ground rules. With respect to the items that are on our agenda for tonight, I will introduce or go through each agenda or item one by one. And then I'm going to, for example, tonight we have a discussion with Mr. Kravosky. When I call his matter to order, he will be allowed to make his presentation. And then if you have any questions for Mr. Kravosky, please let me know who you are, and then you can pose the question to Mr. Kravosky. I don't know that we're taking any votes today, but we may. And in the meantime, if there are any technical difficulties, which hopefully there won't be, I will suspend the meeting until an attempt is made to resolve the issue. But with any luck, we will be able to avoid any technical difficulties. So having said that, the first item on our agenda is a discussion regarding 8 Commonwealth Avenue in Auburn. So Mr. Kravosky, please proceed.
Thank you, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. So, yes, the Conservation Commission did issue an order of conditions for construction at the 8 Commonwealth, which will now be called, once it's official, it'll be 10 Commonwealth.
Okay.
8 was what it was cut off of, and the applicant has a buyer which wishes a garage, a 22 by 22 garage. The new plan, which I see in front of you, thank you so much for hearing me, it shows the garage. The house is moved over to the east. And the question tonight, please, would be whether the commission wants a brand new notice of intent or they would allow for an amendment to the original order. Either one will move forward and file the proper paperwork. And thank you again for hearing me tonight.
Mr. Gravoski, I got this plan, I think, probably late this morning, and I looked at it, and I think my feeling is, again, because it's not only the location of a new structure, but also because the building itself is now changed from its original location. My feeling is that
Yes, sir.
a new notice of intent is not needed, but an amendment certainly is, and I think the abutters also should be notified of the change in the plan. That's just my opinion. I will certainly request any commentary from other members of the board. And if you do have any questions, please, for Mr. Gravoski, please identify yourself and then feel free to speak to Mr. Gravoski directly.
Thank you.
Through the chair, Tom Fallon. I concur with the chair that I think that an amendment would be in order and notify the abutters just so they know that there's been a slight change in the plan. That's the only comments I have. Thank you.
Michelle? What are your thoughts, Michelle?
I agree. I agree with you. I think that notifying the abutters is probably the best course of action at this particular point. I don't think anything more than that, but yeah, notifying the abutters, I think would be in order.
Okay.
Yes.
Nathan?
I agree.
All right. And finally, Patrick.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So we have, it's always nice
I agree with both statements.
I'm sorry, who was that?
I agree with both statements.
All right, thank you, Patrick. So I think by consensus, Mr. Gravoski, we would like you to submit an amendment to the original notice of intent. And, obviously you know what you need to do, so have at it. And when you get your paperwork in order and provide notice to the abutters, we will see you, either later this month or probably in February.
Much for your time, Conservation Commission, Mr. Garland, and we'll get this paperwork ready. We'll notify the abutters, do the proper procedure, and get it to your clerk agent. And thank you again for your time, and good New Year's to everyone from to the Auburn Conservation Commission. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you too, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so since...
Thank you again. Have a good day. Appreciate it.
So because we don't have any public hearings this evening, and because we have a number of other items under other business, I see that Mr. Broder, I believe, is online with respect to 50 Washington Street. Is that correct, Mr. Broder?
Mr. Chairman, I'm actually here on 26 Hilltop Farm Road.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
All right. So I'm looking at a letter that you sent to me actually back in December I'm sorry, I beg your pardon, sir. It is 26 Hilltop Farm Road. So since you're online, why don't you proceed, please?
Sure. I just thought I would provide maybe a little bit of factual background for the commission and then looking for a little direction as to how you want to follow procedure here. So this is a property that was formerly developed back in the early 2000s. The order of conditions is from 2001. Jody and Brenda Carbonell have owned the home since 2003, and a recent title examination alerted them to the fact that the order of conditions had never been released, and I do not know if that is an oversight or issue. And so we submitted a request for a certificate of compliance and a request for a waiver of the as-built plan. It's been, constructed. The home was constructed in the early 2000s, and it seems a little onerous to do an as-built plan at this time. But we're looking for a little bit of direction from you and to follow whatever procedure we need to here to get the matter cleaned up.
Okay, and this was part of a development from Ravane Development.
I believe that's the name on the applicant name on the order initially.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was serving on the commission back then, although I did not sign the order of conditions, which tells me that I was not present at the meeting back on November 28th of 2001. And if you ask me why I wasn't there, I couldn't tell you, sir. So,
I would be amazed if you knew.
I mean, my memory is decent, but it's not that good. Well, this is a little disappointing. Let me ask you this. Have you seen, or has your client seen any plans for the property? Never mind an as-built, but have they seen the original plan that may have been submitted with the notice of intent that was filed back in 2001?
I asked that question recently, and I was led to believe that they thought they had the plan somewhere, but they couldn't lay their hands on the plan.
Okay. And was any attempt made to contact Ravane Development to see if they had copies?
No, sir.
Okay. I don't know, frankly, if Ravane Development is still in business, so that might have been problematic anyway. Well, I think it's something we're going to have to discuss as a commission. And I think what I would want to do is let me just take a moment here. So, Ginger? Ginger, can you unmute Ginger? There you are. So, Ginger, would be... Hi there. So would it be possible, do you think, to pull the file for this filing from 2001? Do you think it's in our archives?
I would think maybe I can go look in the morning.
Okay. We think there's probably a 50% chance that you can put your hands on it. My thought, Mr. Broder, Attorney Broder, is that there would have been a plan filed with the notice of intent, and so if we can put our hands on that, that would help guide us in terms of making a decision. I mean, again, as you pointed out, your clients purchased the property back in 2003, I guess. I'm sure all the work that was required by the commission was done by then, and but if we can put our hands on the original plan, it will be a guide for us if we go and make an inspection of the property, which I'm sure we will do, to see if we can waive the requirement for an as-built plan at this time. So we're going to be meeting, assuming the weather holds up for us, in 2 weeks. Is this something that we can continue for 2 weeks to see if we can put our hands on the plan that was submitted back with the notice of intent?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll continue this for 2 weeks. Our next meeting will be on January 27th. We'll put you in on other business. Ginger, do we have any filings for the next meeting? Okay, so we'll publish our agenda the week before the meeting, and so at that point you could very well be, one of the first items the property will be one of the first items we deal with at 7 o'clock on January 27th, if that's agreeable to you.
That's fine, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Attorney Broder, and please send my regards to your father.
Will do.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right. right, we have other items obviously on the agenda. The next item after Commonwealth Avenue is 340 Rochdale Street, and it's a forest cutting plan. And in looking at the plan, it wasn't clear to me if there are wetlands that we need to be concerned about or not. So I'm thinking it probably would be a good idea to take a look, especially, and sooner rather than later while there's no snow on the ground. I see from the letter from Mr. Lee that I think he would be amenable to meeting with us. So what I will do is I will call him to see if he can arrange to meet with us at the property. The last time I saw the forecast for the weekend, Saturday did not look particularly promising because I think it was going to rain. But perhaps we can, there's a 90% chance of rain on Saturday, so that's probably not going to be a good day to go on sidewalks. But perhaps we can go the following week. So with the board's assent, I will contact Mr. Lee for Chestnut Forestry Services and see if we can arrange a site visit. Next item that we have, well, we actually also have or received, and this is the one I was mistaken about. We received a notice of intent to sell land, and this has to do with 50 Washington Street.
Mr. Chairman, I can speak on that. The town manager asked me to discuss that notice of intent with the commission.
Mr. Maynard. Or Menard, rather. Hi. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about it?
Hi, thank you. So the town received a notice of intent to sell by the owners of 50 Washington Street to sell their land. It's about 30 acres to Eastland Partners. Eastland Partners has an ongoing development in town there, and they own the property next to 50 Washington Street at 190 Washington Street.
We are familiar.
I provided you a kind of a description of the property, some of the challenges, some of the surrounding properties. There's a lot of wetlands back there. You might be familiar with some of the wetlands back there. It's fairly steep. The town does own a fair amount of land, dozens of acres, going back towards the Baptist complex. There's a map included in the property description of all the highlighted, yellow highlighted properties the town owns.
Okay.
I think it's the last map. With 50 Washington Street circled. So the Open Space Committee on Monday and the Planning Board last night recommended to the Board of Selectmen not to recommend the town pursue this. So they're advising the Board of Selectmen not to pursue the right of first refusal.
Okay.
I want to attend tonight to answer any questions or to provide any information that the commission may have. And the town manager, myself, would like the commission to vote either to recommend the town pursue the right of first refusal or not recommend to the Board of Selectmen that the town pursue it.
All right. Well, you're right. I have some questions. What is the rationale for not exercising the right of first refusal? Are there so many wetlands and is the topography so challenging that it's not economically feasible or advantageous to try to develop this property?
That was part of the consideration. To the best of my knowledge, nobody in town administration has a real use for it. It's not really suitable for, say, a police station or fire station. negotiated, but they have indicated that they're only looking to utilize about 8 acres of the 30 acres. And one of the maps in the description of the property, I kind of highlighted the parcels they're looking to develop. One parcel was kind of a triangular piece next to the high-tension wires, and the other piece was right along Route 20, towards the front part of the parcel. Yeah. And my clippings didn't really transfer very well, but you can kind of get the intent there.
Understood. And apparently this area...
But the triangle piece...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
No, please proceed.
The triangle piece would be of help for East Empires to develop their 190 Washington Street. It's not critical, but it would be help. It would help them develop that parcel. There is some encroachment by the trailer park on the other side of the property, but that would be something that would have to be dealt with whoever acquires the property.
And is it my understanding that the wetlands at 50 Washington Street have not been delineated, to your knowledge?
I do not know. I do not have the knowledge for that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the narrative, and it appears that we know there are wetlands there, but no one has actually done it. Has done a delineation. So again, just to restate or summarize what you've said, both the Board of Selectmen and the Planning Board have voted not to exercise the right of first refusal. Is that correct?
The Open Space Committee and the Planning Board have voted. The Board of Selectmen won't be voting until later this month or early February.
Okay.
They want to, get more information here from the various boards.
Understood. Well, I mean, I would sort of like to take a look at it, but I'm going to ask or survey members of the commission to see what their thoughts are. So, Tom, what are your thoughts on not exercising the right of first refusal for 50 Washington Street?
Seeing that the scope of the development is pretty limited with the wetlands, it would almost it makes perfect sense to sell it to the abutter. But I definitely would concur with you that I would like to take a look at it. I think just because it's so close to the park there, and also the interest with the storm diversion culvert down there. A lot of people go there in the winter and do ice climbing and stuff like that. So.
Michelle, what are your thoughts?
I know that this is going to sound naive. There's no way that we could actually just designate it as walking trails. That it couldn't be actually built on, right?
Adam?
No, it couldn't just be built. It couldn't just be built on. It would have to be planned out. It would have to be, if there were big trails, it'd have to be ADA accessible. There'd be a lot of there'd be a cost to turn those into trails.
No, and I understand that. What I'm kind of getting at is if the town of Auburn bought this or what have you, there's no the thought of actually even trying to put a fire station or a DPW or something or some kind of structure on it other than walking trails. They wouldn't do that, right?
No, from what I can understand, it would be extremely costly for the town to put anything really on there because of the topography, because of the wetlands. To bring the grade, the ground up to grade to the road grade would be quite costly.
And I understand what you're saying. Just because it's costly doesn't necessarily mean that they wouldn't try sometimes, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is there a way, if we don't do the first right of refusal, that we could? Because I like the idea of walking trails. I just kind of wanted to designate it as walking trails, not as can we make it like that if we vote on it? No.
I
Michelle, would you like to take a look?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All right, very good, thank you. Nathan? What do you think?
I'll go with you to take a look. I did vote as part of the open space to refuse the first refusal, but I would go with the commission to take a look.
Okay. And finally, Patrick, what are your thoughts? Okay.
And confirm what the map is showing us.
All right, very good. Thank you, Patrick. So, Adam, I think we have consensus that at this time, we'd like to actually have the opportunity to make an inspection. And again, since you indicated that the Board of Selectmen won't be voting on this at least for, another week or two? Is that fair?
Yes, their next meeting is, it was 2 weeks from Monday, this past Monday, so it's in a week and a half.
Okay, so I think if that's the case, they're going to meet on the 25th, and we'll meet on the 27th. And so by the 27th, we will have had the opportunity to walk the site, and I think at that point we can, give you a determination on what our recommendation would be, if that's acceptable to you.
That's fine. I don't know I don't know if the Board of Selectmen will take any action on the 25th or not. I don't have an answer on that.
All right.
That's kind of up to them.
Sure, that makes perfect sense to me. So, all right. So I think we're going to just continue this to the 27th. We will make sure we get out to the property before then, and we should have, I believe, we'll have an answer for you at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay. We have received for 25 Pinrock Road a request to extend the order of conditions for the property. We received a letter from a Michael Satchel dated December 11th, 2020, indicating that he was requesting an extension of the order of conditions for 3 years. He advised that the house that's being built there is almost complete, but is still not finished. Ginger? Do you know... Hi there. Do you know when we issued the order of conditions for this property?
I do not know. I did not. I haven't looked into it now.
Okay. So, thank you. So, our policy generally is that if someone submits a request for an extension within the before the 3-year deadline or period of time is run on the original order of conditions, we will grant it. Unfortunately, I don't know when we issued the order of conditions for this. I'm going to make an assumption, however, that the applicant, in fact, was issued the order of conditions prior to the time within the 3-year period of the date of his letter, which is December 11th, 2020. This request for extension does require a vote, and it will actually need a motion as well. So is there a motion to approve the request of Michael Satchel of 25 Pinrock Road to extend his order of conditions for another 3 years?
So moved, Tom.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second. This is Nathan.
Thank you, Nathan. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Patrick? Okay, Okay, all right, it's unanimous, it's a vote. So, Ginger, we will issue an extension of the order of conditions for 3 years for 25 Pin Rock Road.
Okay, I just did remember that one expired on the 13th of December.
Okay, so he did send a letter before the...
So we got the letter in right before.
Yes, he did, and that's fine, so he's saved by the bell, as they say. Okay.
Okay.
We've also gotten a request for 132 Prospect Street for a certificate of compliance. Was that carried over from the last meeting?
I believe so.
Got the last agenda. Hold on a second. Yes, it was.
Okay, I don't think I have it. So anyway, we received a request for the issuance of a certificate of compliance for 132 Prospect Street, which means we need to take a look. So again, the weather conditions are not, don't look particularly inviting for this Saturday, but we do have the weekend after to make a site walk, weather permitting. So why don't we try to get out there the Saturday after next, and before our next meeting to do an inspection. So we will carry that over to 127 as well under other business. And then we also received a letter from National Grid with a vegetation management plan. And I do think this is something, I know that members of the commission have expressed concern concerning the types of insecticides that have been used, or herbicides used for treating the vegetation. I think it's a National Grid's position that they only need to notify us, that they don't need to file notice of intent, or don't frankly need our permission to do what they are proposing to do. But I also know that this has raised concerns among members of the board in years past. And I know especially Allison Holmes of our commission has been quite vocal in expressing concern, and Allison is not available this evening for the meeting. So my suggestion would be that we also carry this over to our meeting on January 27th, and let's hear from Allison to see if she has any concerns or issues, and then we can, if we believe there is something that needs to be done, a response to National Grid, then we can take it up at that time. With respect to 498 Rochdale Street, I believe members of the commission will remember that we've started issuing fines to the property owner for their failure to comply with both the orders of the Conservation Commission and also DEP. It is my understanding that those fines are still being levied. It was also my understanding that the town council was actually going to, I believe, bring an enforcement action, and I think the jurisdiction is the housing court, although I might be mistaken about that, to see what can be done to collect those fees. So that process, I believe, is ongoing. I did receive a communication from the adjacent property owner that it appeared there was some sort of activity being undertaken at the property, perhaps to address issues involving the stream that was installed by the property owner. But if that was done, it was not done with any knowledge of the town or any, for that matter, any supervision of any wetland specialist or engineer. So, and I don't know what the status is of that activity, but it did appear to be taking place. I believe around Thanksgiving and perhaps even early December. So I will follow up and determine what action is taking place with regard to the fines and enforcement at 498 Rochdale Street. And then we have two other matters that were continued from the last meeting. Complaints about tree cutting at 23 Boy Street and also 208 South Street. If any of you have ever traveled Boy Street, it is a very busy road. I think when this was first reported, I did attempt to make a site inspection, but frankly couldn't find a place to park my car, so I wasn't able to stop, but we should try to go there also if we can. And I believe 208 South Street is easily accessible. I think when we went out there, I think we had a snowstorm that day, Tom, if you recall. So I wasn't able to get out there, and I'm not sure anyone else from the commission was able to get out there. So that's kind of the status of that. We should try to get out to both of those properties to determine the extent of any tree cutting. And that's it that I have. I don't know if anyone else has any matters, anything they want to bring up. If there is no new business, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
All right.
Tom?
Is there a second?
I'll second that, Michelle.
All right, Michelle, thank you. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, it's a vote. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year. We'll be in touch concerning site walks in a couple weeks, and we'll see you at our next meeting on January 27th. Have a good evening.